right, welcome back to the show. It's your host Sully, and once again, I got music artist Latisha Rhodes back on the show. Welcome.
Known as Goddess.
Also known as the Goddess, yes. So, it's been a rough week for all of us personally, but socially, it's been very unusual. A member of the rap group that Cardi B was part of, Migos, has just been killed. And there's been just a lot of other just pushback in the industry. So we were just thinking, hey, we can harp on stuff that just really needs to be addressed. Because as Latisha and I were saying when building this up, it seems like there's a lot of baggage that music artists are just not putting to the side. And again, the industry we still have a lot of clickbait sites and people who want to see people fail. They're looking for that embarrassing photo of them at a TGI Fridays or an out of context interview, and it takes like 5 more sites to actually get the real scoop of what that random conversation was. And as a music artist yourself, I think you can say you've worked with a lot of reliable producers so far.
Yes.
Indie music.
But you already know that even through the process, I'm not gonna say everybody's reliable. We all have our flaws, things like that. So
I had a great editor who I was doing a lot of music videos with, and after a while, he got I will not name him, but he got very unreliable. Like, he would not answer my text back, and then he was asking for more money. And I'm like, wait a second.
Right.
We got to have this conversation first before we renegotiate. And I'm trying to answer these other 2 producers and this music artist on why their video isn't done. And you said this was done processing a day ago. What's going on here, buddy?
No.
We got a good product, but it was a very annoying 2 months putting it together is what I'm saying. So it shouldn't have to be that. It should not have to be constant micromanaging in addition to directing around what edits you need made. And I'm sure you've had it before where it's like you want the tempo a certain way and you're just not hearing it, and you're having to then process, do we re-record or book a different session?
I feel it's good to get a producer that knows your voice, that knows you well, that loves your music, and that's really your number one support, because it's going to bring nature. Yeah, so it's just some producers, they just doing it to get a check. You got some that's trying to create an artist. You got some that's really trying to create this magic in music.
Don't sell the soul just yet. Yeah.
That part. But what I really wanted to touch, and I hope everyone listen out here for this comment that I'm finna make in regards to what just happened. I know we kind of spurring back and forth with producers, but on the artist Offset with the Migos, because to me the Migos were like the Black Beatles, to me in the hip hop industry. So
they were big.
Yes. And they changed a lot of things in the era with hip hop music to be where it is now. So to lose artists based to gun violence in this hip hop world, or this music entertainment that we in, is very sad to see. And as me being a woman hip hop artist and knowing we already dealing with other obstacles, and then we're still dealing with street stuff that's in something that we're trying to better our community, it's sad. It's just sad to see. And I send condolence out to their family. I send condolence out to the hip hop world, to the entertainment world, whoever knew Offset was affected, people who love them, all of that, fans, send condolence. Y'all keep his family in prayers. I just hate that happened for hip hop. But with that being said, let the women in, because we're not killing each other out here.
Correct. But Houston's still a pretty big scene. We got Megan Thee Stallion is still pretty big right now.
Facts. And she's big on a lot of women empowerment things, like the songs that she come out with, even though we know thought is a bad word that they use for women being that hoe over there. She basically, her goal was to empower women to know, like, hey, we can carry the same weight that the male hip hop industry carrying. They got a little bit more drama going on, but we're still trying to get our foot in the door. And my opinion on that, because that does deal with a lot of our women rights. So that having a voice with hip hop, it's on my end, me being a woman and having a voice in hip hop, and actually a lot of things that's going on in the politician world with trying to change our rights about our body and things like that. I feel that the hip hop community have a voice for that too, not only on the men hip hop side, but on the women hip hop side. Um,
Yes, absolutely. So, for those who are already, not averse to politics and clearly didn't read the name of this episode, I'm going to just say a trigger warning before we get even more personal. But yeah, I was looking at gutmacher.org's fact check, and they noted just recently, as of September 1st, 2019, 29 states were considered hostile towards abortion rights, and
mm,
14 states were considered supportive, and 7 states were somewhere in between. So, once again, the political spectrum is very goofed up. It always has been, and it's systematically. But I mean, this even reminds me of a great 2006 rap documentary. It's in my watch list. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember Ice-T was featured on there, and he said the recurring deal with rap music in general is that once you get past even the racial aspect of it all, there's still, much like with even metal and folk music, many will just listen to it but not actually be listening to the lyrics. They're just hating this, they're rejecting it based on the sound. And so, I mean, that's already a lost cause, but it gets even more, like you say, complex when there's just so many who just will blindly just say, I love it, I hate it. And people like to just go to the lowest common denominator of just jumping on bandwagons. And you just wonder, is like, okay, well, there maybe there should be some other, I don't want to say you should censor speech, but there should be a way to just kind of monitor people who are just not ready to have an actual conversation, are just going to contribute to trolling, because there's a way to see it. And there's so many people who will try and attack trolls. I'm like, well, then they've won, because you wasted your time on a bot account or just someone else who just wants a rise out of you and wants to see the ugly side of you so they can print that in TMZ.
So, Cam, what you saying that? How do you think that affects like the women hip hop community, and not just the women hip hop community, just women in general, trying to be independent in, as we call, the man's world, but we know it's nothing without a woman.
It's quite a lot. It's so significant that it's very despicable, because I was actually talking to a few of my recurring pals in LA who are in the indie music scene there, and it's just very constant. They will encounter some absolute pig of a person who just thinks, oh, the slut. I'm like, well, you knew this was a very sexually promiscuous song. That doesn't mean that person's a slut. It seems like a lot of people are just programmed to just talk shit. They really absolutely just want to talk smack, and they think they can get away with it. They think it's funny. But really all it is just opening our eyes to, okay, so this person has no double standards. Distance yourself from them immediately. It doesn't matter what their talent is.
Right.
No. I don't care if they're the biggest producer in town. If they're a shithead, they're a shithead. It doesn't change anything. True. You can't work with that.
But feeling like, as a woman, when we do those provocatives, as you said, those songs like WAP, Cardi B did.
Yeah.
To me, as you have one woman on this side to where they was like, oh, that's speaking independence. That's letting us know that we're free with our bodies. And then you got other people, oh my God, that's so derogatory. They teaching women how to be slut. They teaching women how to be whores. And the music is affecting young girls to talk about their, So it's, to me, and then how also her song talking about she don't cook and clean. We know Cardi B cook and clean. She has a husband. They take it at a context as the music now, City Girls and all of that, in a way to where that's how they looking at women, as hip hop is only a sexual, explicit to women, being derogatory with their lyrics. You're not going to get in the industry unless you're talking about your pussy and all this other stuff. Then that throws us in the category to where we getting judged as women, or now our freedom of certain speeches are being judged. But men talk about us in music for centuries and years, and it's a lot on that topic.
Well, and it's all systematic. Like, do you remember in the 2000s when men were trying to not only outlaw just anything from certain clothing to pornography to even video games? It's the same difference. And what we've seen from every scandal, generally when someone wants something banned, it's because they got it in their own closet and their own baggage. They don't want you to have what they possess. They want it to be forbidden, which is stupid, because it's the same deal as don't see this R-rated movie. It's like, well, everyone's going to go sneak into it now. Yeah, free advertising. But it does get annoying, because much like how video games would the recurring trend, even though it had been scientifically proven as bullshit, was these playing Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty is going to make my kid become a serial killer or drive-by shooter. Is like, no, if anything, it's much like all these adult products, it's just getting the toxicity out. Like, it's making someone go away with this stupid fantasy so they think twice about actually committing said crime. Like, the person who shot Ronald Reagan back in the day deliberately saw a taxi driver 500 something times. I would have been very depressed being the clerk at that theater. Dude, what are you doing here? Anyway, but yeah, it goes back to this. It's the same deal with this. People generally think, if I listen to this song, it's going to inspire my daughter to do this and that. It's like, well, then either don't listen to it or let her listen to it and just caution. There's a reason there's that content advisory. It's the same thing when I see people complain about a violent movie, and it's like, well, there's a rating on it. You were literally warned. You can't complain about it existing. It's going to exist.
Facts. That is definitely true.
It's almost as lame as just, I don't know, let's say someone's got a mental or physical condition. They're still a person, they're still existing. Just acting like they're any different it just goes back to, again, square one. Just no gatekeeping.
No, for real, honestly. And with that, and I know everybody's like, okay, y'all speaking on hip hop and y'all speaking on women. And the reason why I feel that's important, because hip hop does have a loud voice. That is to me, most trending things that our young youth listen to. And a lot of our young youth are women that are growing into becoming women, and they hearing this music, they hearing what's being said, and then they're hearing, okay, you shouldn't be comfortable with your body. So to me, it's a contradiction in our own element in this world. Yeah. So where it's like, we're going to control your body, but you can say what you want. But as politicians and men, abortion, this is what we're going to do. You have no right to this. Right. And I feel like it's a, what you call that? A catch-22?
A catch-22 would be a good way. Yeah. Like a double standards, definitely. Yeah.
So, and how that affects me, even though my rap way of things is totally different, and want to speak on how women, we need to get over obstacles and things like that. But I just feel freedom of speech is freedom of speech. If you don't censor it as a parent, how you were saying about video games and stuff, if you don't censor that as a parent, or if you don't put a boundary on your child, that is not the artist's responsibility. We all adults.
They're going to see a version of it anyway. It's the same thing when you hear a song on the radio, it's often modified. Same thing with a movie. If it's on TV, they're going to edit out some of the language or excess violence. It's like they're going to see it one way or another, whether it's at their friend's house or with their less restrictive uncle. It's just...
Right. No, that's true. Or the phones now. We can't forget technology.
Yeah. Everyone's got an Amazon account.
Amazon, Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. That what do you think about this? It was so annoying when TikTok and all those other ones first unleashed, and it was like they were just going to town. How dare you, my kid dance to this song. I'm like, there's a safety rating on there, but something's going to get through anyway. I mean, just about every song's about love and sex. Let's be honest. So I don't really know why you're surprised. There's going to be...
It's about sex or dating in some way, type of form, even in the little kids' pop music.
If you can handle, don't complain. Oh, why are they dancing to that R&B song when it's really no different than some 70s disco song? It's really not.
Only different, he's saying you're rose flower, and he may say the direct thing.
That's true too. There's going to be a lack of subtext and more bluntness.
Then you go straight back. Look, you got me on something. I found the song. I know this off subject. I found a song that was from the 1920s, and it was speaking on it was women empowerment song, but she was talking about how his is bigger and he do it this way. And I said, our music is not as bad as it was back then, because she's speaking on a little bit more personal, aspects of things as a woman. She beat WAP. Kids can't listen to that one.
Yeah. Or Anaconda by Nicki Minaj. But see, again, you deserve the right to influence yourself. I mean, just about every other metal band back in their day got restricted because they were either a satanic worshiper or they joked about satanic cults, but it didn't matter. Everyone didn't want any of that in their kid's house. So again, it goes back to the square one. Is like, who are your folks? Are they actually listening to it? Are they uncomfortable with it? Is it doing its job way too well? I mean, there's plenty of songs where they hint at something even though they don't even show it. But again,
True.
you know, there's so many different parent watch groups and they've had their way with everything. I'm still even surprised at what TV shows are even allowed on prime time that years ago would have been banned.
Yep. That's true.
So
true.
What do we do other than just keep telling everyone, hey, use your words? There's clearly a reason why you dislike it. It didn't happen overnight.
How do you feel we will ever have an actual woman president?
Oh, I think it can happen, but man, you're gonna have to find someone who can, kind of like Alexandria Cortez or some other progressive type, who can just flat out just mop the floor with the trolls. Like, can just really just find a way for them to just, you know, not affect them. You know, and it's not easy. You know, you have to literally let them call you just the most pathetic name call on the planet, and that's just it. Like, and once you be a politician, you do unfortunately have to play the game. You're gonna have to make a compromise. You're gonna have to not deliver on a certain promise, but at the same time, you're gonna have to get enough done to where most people just shut up already. But
you think they would belittle a woman, like they would give her a harder time in the office?
Yeah, just unfortunately, there's just all these old crusty white guys taking up space, and so it's gonna, again, because of how systematic it is, it might be another 20 years before we get another shot at that. Unfortunately, I think there can definitely be a senator or a governor, maybe might have a better chance in a certain state, but
because we got a vice president woman now,
right, that's one extra step. But
yeah, but actually leading the bunch, can we actually get,
yeah,
so.
And can we have it be just someone who's just, you know, does more than just the minimum, you know, doing enough to make the corporations, the other side, talk less smack about them. We really do need just someone who can just, I mean, Beto's trying to do it, but yeah, and Alexandria Cortez is trying to do that. Can we find someone else also who can be another voice and not pretend to be progressive?
You think Michelle Obama can run? Or Hillary Clinton again?
I think Michelle has enough juice left in her. I think she could definitely, especially with just how positive she was about health and fitness. I think that definitely flew. Hillary definitely doesn't have a chance. So you definitely need either new blood or just someone else who's been just beloved for so long and still a lot of people generally trust him. You know?
Yeah, because that's another thing. Like, I always was wondering, like, if a woman was to get in the office, all these rules and restrictions that they're trying to do, that will open up a whole different thing. Now, my idea, suggestion, I know this is just random, how they so quick to put abortion on us and things like that and restrict certain things.
Yeah, like it was everyone's fault, like they wanted this.
How about they flip the spectrum and give you guys? Now I know people on the thing probably like, what? Give men birth control.
Anyway,
here's why I say this: a woman within a year cannot have 100 babies, but a man can sleep with 100 women within that same frame and have 100 babies. So who really needs birth
men are
control?
the cause of this problem, but they don't want to fess up to it or own up to it. And so it is annoying when you see so many guys, they want sympathy. Oh, why didn't you get birth control? I'm like, well, why didn't you keep your seat in place, buddy?
Or why you didn't strap up? Sorry for the sensitive ears, but hey, like I said, women with 1 year can have one child, multiple, but a man can have sex with 100 women and have 100 babies within a year.
And there's so many, they just don't want to take responsibility. They don't have empathy. They want the whole macho crap going in one ear out the other.
The machos trying to take over our body. Let us control it.
Well, look at even these internet trolls when they're talking about a new movie or show that has like a social topic. It's like, oh, this is too woke. I'm like, it was always woke. And what's wrong with that?
You just fear what's in front. Some people just fear what they don't understand.
It's like there was always social commentary. There was all this other stuff going on for years. They were complaining about it on, I think, Blackish and even some of the new Star Trek shows, and I was just like, yeah. And you knew what you signed up for, so what's the problem? It's a positivity enforcing show. That's all it is.
Right. But everybody wants
Negativity. It's unrealistic. Being gay is not unrealistic. Just saying.
No.
So basically, to answer your point, there's just a lot of just douchebags who just want people they don't like to not exist. And it's like, well, so again, you don't have a double standard.
No, true. That's true.
And to even build on that a little more, it just seems like we're just getting more and more just monsters in Congress. We're just getting guys who just never can't relate to anyone, never took responsibility for anything, just want, again, they're the shepherd and everyone else is their sheep.
And with that being said, everybody go vote. You had early vote.
Yeah.
But y'all get out there and vote, especially everyone. I ain't gonna just say ladies, women, all of that. Everybody, your vote is important.
If you're an independent, go for the Green Party, go for something. Don't do a write-in vote. You can do that, but that's a waste of time.
Right, because your voice needs to be heard. We can talk about it all day, but what are you doing to make a difference? Exactly. So let's make that happen. Most definitely. So with that being said,
yeah, anything you want to promote. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Of course, I want to shout out to Cam. I appreciate you so much for this opportunity. Always showing love. Been knowing you for almost.
I think we met at one mixer years ago, and we've just been back and forth.
That's been 10 years ago, love. 10 years.
So there you go.
Wonderful. And but you guys can find me. I'm actually starting my podcast on YouTube. It's called Bold Conversations. So y'all can go ahead and follow me at imb.a.d goddess on YouTube. Subscribe. I'm going live, so I should be ready by then. Y'all follow me on Instagram. Same thing, imb.a.d goddess 88 on all music platforms as well. I have a music video that is about to come out in the next 3 days.
Nice.
I haven't posted, but this is going to shock everybody. Speaking on holidays about chances and risks that we take. So y'all tap into that. I have also a live on Roku for me doing the beauty pageant for Congo in Africa. So y'all tap into that. That will be live November the 6th. I should be having some shows coming up. Y'all just follow my page. Instagram, I'm going to have you guys all updated with everything. So y'all will see what's going on with that.
It's the new norm, guys. Use it for the best.
Yes. Then again, I appreciate Cam again. I got to say, shout out. Yay!
Anytime. We're all about a fun music and film and just overall discussion chat. So here we go.
No, yeah, I appreciate this. Thank you.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
We're on all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up